grief never really ends. It evolves, it changes shape, it softens with time, but it never vanishes. It becomes part of who we are, woven into our story, stitched into our soul. Living with grief isn't about getting over loss. It's about learning to carry it with grace, to let it shape us without consuming us, to grow in faith alongside it. After her daughter passed, Monica often heard friends say, "She would want you to be happy." It felt like pressure. "I didn't know how to be happy," she said. "I just wanted to survive." Years later, Monica still tears up when she talks about her daughter, but now her sadness is gentler. "Grief softened me," she explained. "It slowed me down. It made me notice people more. It taught me to pay attention to moments." Grief doesn't go away. It becomes the lens through which we see the world. And through that lens, we can discover a deeper spirituality. James lost his younger brother to an overdose. He spiraled into guilt and shame. For months, he could barely pray. Then slowly, something shifted. He joined a support group. He began speaking at local schools about addiction. "My grief found a voice," he said. "It doesn't just cry anymore. It speaks." When honored, not rushed, grief can teach us compassion for others' pain, the sacredness of presence, patience with mystery, gratitude for what remains. We become different, not despite our grief, but because of it. Faith after loss doesn't always look spiritual in the traditional sense. It might look like lighting a candle during dinner, whispering a prayer while folding laundry, listening to a favorite song on repeat, taking deep breaths before work. These small acts become sacred pauses, moments where grief and faith quietly meet. Elena journals each morning. She calls her notebook a grief devotional. She writes prayers, letters to her husband, and one sentence of gratitude. "It keeps me connected," she said, "not just to him, but to God and to myself. Faith is not meant to be walked alone, especially not in grief." Rob returned to church 6 months after his mother died. He feared everyone had moved on. But when he arrived, people still hugged him, still prayed for him, still remembered. Community doesn't need answers. Sometimes the best ministry is simply saying, "I see you, I'm here. Spiritual growth in grief might look like a deeper awareness of God's quiet presence, greater compassion for others, the ability to sit in silence, a renewed purpose or calling, a softer heart. None of this erases the pain, but it shows that even in sorrow, life continues. Faith continues. This isn't backsliding, it's transformation. Grief leaves a mark. It doesn't ask permission, and it doesn't go away on schedule. But through the ache, one truth emerges. Faith doesn't have to stay the same to remain true. In fact, it rarely does. Faith after grief often looks quieter, rawer, more weathered, but also more compassionate. The God who walks with us in grief doesn't ask us to rewind. He invites us forward. Just as Jesus walked with the disciples on a road to Emmaus, unrecognized at first, he walks with us too. And in the breaking of bread, in the rituals, in the remembering, we begin to see him again. Faith shaped by grief is less about answers, more about presence. It's found in garden walks, in quiet tears, in late-night journal entries. It honors the unknown. It listens. It waits. And it is just as sacred as the faith that once felt certain. You are not who you were, but that doesn't mean you're lost. Your grief has become part of you, not as a flaw, but as a facet. It has carved space in your heart for empathy, resilience, and a faith that no longer needs to shout to be real. This isn't the end of your story. It's a new chapter, one that may hold both sorrow and joy, not instead of grief, but alongside it. As you continue your journey, remember, you don't need to rush healing. You don't need to explain your pain. Your story still matters. God is still with you. You don't need to get back to anything. You're invited forward to a faith lived in, resilient, compassionate. You are not alone. Others walk this road, and the God who knows grief firsthand walks with you still. Let your faith evolve. Trust that grief can be holy ground. Know that love endures beyond death. Believe that God is near, even when he feels far. Grief has changed your faith. That's not failure, that's growth. And in that growth, may you find peace, presence, and home. Thank you for allowing this series to walk with you. If this message gave you encouragement, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need hope today. Together, we can remind each other grief does not end the story. It reshapes it. And in that reshaping, God is still with us.